What's happening, everybody? Saturday morning here. I'm out here working on the wife's Tahoe. As you guys can see, I got the rear brakes tore apart again. The rear rotors were just trashed. I thought maybe I could get away with before just throwing a set of pads on it. But as you can see, the outer pad still like new, inner pad's wasted. And what was happening, I was getting caught up on all this rust and shit, garbage. So what I ended up doing is we ended up getting a set of power stops off of Rock Auto. We got a set of metallic or ceramic pads and 2 rear rotors. I think it was shipped. It was $14 for the shipping, but the pads and the rotors were $89 or $86, something like that. So to my door is $106. And I probably should have did that before, but it is what it is. You know, I figured I'd throw a cheap set of pads on there and we would be fine. But pulling this camper home from Sanford, which is probably about 30 miles away from our house. You know, this is a 30-foot camper, and pulling that from Sanford to here. And then I ended up taking it out to Roy's house, and we ended up putting a brand new awning on it because the awning was missing when we bought it, and that was part of the deal from Tony. You know, he gave me a deal on the camper, so he said I would have to buy a new awning, so we did. I had to use a mismatched piece here because what happened, she left it out in the rain and all the rain puddled in the middle and it bent the tube down and destroyed the old fabric. And when it bent the tube down, obviously it takes these arms and bends them in. So Roy had an extra arm. I don't give a shit if it's white. It don't go with the black awning, but it'll work. But anyway, pulling that heavy thing without a brake controller. I do have a Taconcha brake controller that I got from Roy. We just got to get it over there and get it plugged in. It's supposed to be plug and play up by the brake pedal there, and we should be good to go. You know, pulling these trailers around, I've been pulling my car trailer around with a race car, you know, with the El Camino on it for shit, what, going on probably 3 years now. And you know, it's not that heavy. You just gotta time your stops, you know. But yeah, it needs a brake controller. That's what's burning these brakes up. But we have one and we are getting it installed. So that's what I'm doing this morning, getting this all ready to rock and roll for her. And the old El Camino's home. I went and got this the other day, which there's some news about this. But I have brand new 3-inch stainless steel mufflers that I put it on the old pipes. I cut the H pipe out and just took a little piece of 3-inch and put on here. So we're good for the exhaust. I got to get the exhaust put on it. But I'm going to have to drop the tranny pan. Getting it home, I went to stab it and then it went from second to high gear and it seemed like it was slipping. In high gear, and I noticed it last year when we took it to Lapeer Dragway, that going into high gear, it just seemed like it, you know, if you wanted to shift at 7,000, you better shift about 6,700, and then it'll finally catch about 7. And Tony's like, that trance has been in that car for a while now, so, you know, that little 8-inch converter, high gear is not very, you know, tough on 350 turbos, especially when you're putting horsepower to them. But it is what it is. So I'm gonna probably drain the tranny fluid out. I got a new pan sitting there that we were gonna do last year, but I'm gonna drain the tranny fluid out before we put the exhaust on it. Drop that old pan and see how much clutch material's in there. And Tony said it ain't shit to rebuild them, which it ain't. So it's nice having a transmission buddy. Something goes down, you know, something as easy as a 350 turbo. We can get it fixed right away. But anyways, guys, I'm going to get back on this. I'll put you guys on the tripod and see if I can get this thing figured out. I had to wrestle that rotor off. It was hung up on the inner brake pads. I don't know if a lot of guys know this or not, but on a 4-wheel disc brake setup, you have your inner pads, which is your parking brake, which there's lots of meat left on them yet, and then your outer pads are obviously right on the rotor for your everyday stopping. So I had to wrestle it off there. She was rusty. It's never been changed as far as I can tell. I mean, even you guys can probably even see how thin that inner is versus the outer. Come on, focus. There you go. But yeah, that's what we're doing, and I'll bring you guys right back. All right, we're getting a little closer here. Just wanted to point out one more thing to you guys. After you got your rotor installed and your bracket back on here, which takes two 18mm bolts on the back side right there, them are 18s. Get everything cleaned up where the pads go. Then you got two 18mm bolts, or sliders, I call them adjusters, for disc brakes here. But there's a sleeve that rides in here, which these go in, and that's what makes your caliper go in and out easily. And I had one tough one, but you guys can see you want to make sure you wire wheel them down and lube them up. I used wheel bearing grease before, and I think that's why it wore that inner pad out instead of wearing them equally. I'm sure the backside of that rusty rotor didn't help at all either, but them have to move freely for the caliper to retract and expand freely. So I cleaned everything up on the wire wheel. I'm going to run some Never Seas in there instead of wheel bearing grease, because that wheel bearing grease is sticky. I should have known that, but I was in a hurry last time. Like I said, I just slammed it on. We had stuff going on, so my mistake, and it cost me in the long run. I should have did it this way to begin with, but sometimes you try and cheat and you win. Sometimes you try and cheat and it bites you in the ass. And this time it bit me in the ass, but we're getting closer. So I'm gonna finish this side up and jam on the other side. You guys probably don't want to see me do that, so I'll bring you guys back after we get the whole job complete, and we'll talk about what's going on, what our plans are with the El Camino. I got some news about that. You guys already know about the transmission deal, but it might be going bye-bye. And I'll bring you guys in on that little secret here. So hang with us. Alrighty, brake job complete. Wife happy. Which, like I said before, I should have probably just did this to begin with. You know, I didn't know how cheap they actually was for the rotors. I figured, you know, they were really expensive, and I just wasn't into doing it at the time, but I should have. But now it's done 100% correct. Everything's never seized up. Everything slides nice, so these should last a long time. We are going to get a brake controller installed real soon for pulling these trailers around. I already put brand new rotors, calipers, and pads already on the front. So, you know, hopefully I didn't burn them up too bad pulling these trailers around, but they seem to be fine. I looked in there and there's no grooves or nothing cracking or squeaking, but boy, we were living on the edge here. You can see the stress cracks in here, even on that one, the cracks in multiple places on these rotors. I mean, garbage. We were definitely living on a prayer, as Bon Jovi would say. But 100% done right now, so we're good there. So I just got to pick up my mess here. Like I said, these are power stop brakes that we got from Rock Auto, 106 bucks delivered to the door. Took a couple days to get them, but we got them. And for more information on the El Camino, like I was telling you guys, Tony over at the transmission shop, he's interested in the car. He's got his 355 over here that he has nothing to put it in, and he wants to find something. Well, he offered me pretty good money for the rolling chassis. I get to keep my rims, tires, motor, trans, ignition, gauges, shifter, everything racy with this. Obviously, he would get the radiator and the dual electric fans, that stuff, you know what I mean? But I get to keep my alternator, my the aluminum water pump, everything that goes with it. The nitrous, all the ignition system. But he offered me good money to take my motor and trans out and install his 355 with his new trans that he built for it. And that was the plan. And because he was actually at the transmission shop, he sold half his lot, and Taco Bell wanted to buy half of his lot, and it was all a done deal. Well, before I went and got it, Tony called me over and he says, "Hey, Herb," he's like, "I'm going to have to wait a little bit on the car because the deal with Taco Bell fell through," which sucks for him because, that was quite a bit of money. It's all commercial land, and he was really looking forward to that sale, but it fell through right at the very last minute. So he said he's going to hold off on the car for now, in which I was seriously, I told him, I said, I'll do it, I'll sell it to you. I've had the car for going on 15 years. Me and the boys, we got this car. It was crashed, not bad, but the rear quarter was shoved in due to the guy that owned it before. Dumped the clutch and slid into a no parking sign doing a donut. And it took me all these years to get the body done right. The body's done right now. But, it's how many times I drive it per year. That money sure is nice. And I also had somebody that's interested in the engine out of the thumb. He offered me a 358 forged bottom end, like new. I get to keep my heads, intake, cam, well, not the cam, the heads, the intake, all the accessories, my oil pan, harmonic balance for water pump, all that. He don't need that. He just wants the short block for a roundy round car. So all together, with me selling the body to Tony and then the short block to the gentleman up in the thumb, we were close to $19,000. And I was seriously thinking about doing it, finishing the Blazer, putting some money back in the bank. Times are tough at times, and, a little nest egg in the bank, always good. And, as much as I drive this car per year, it made financial sense to me. But Tony said don't count him out yet. Give him a little bit to see what goes on. He's still got his house in Midland for sale because he just moved over by me, which you guys know. So it still might happen. But I told him if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. I don't want to sell it, but I do, if that makes any sense. But anyways, guys, this video, I'm just going to do a short video. We'll do another video soon, getting the El Camino in the air and getting working on it. But I figured I'd bring you guys along today just to give you an update on the El Camino. And I figured I'd throw some rear brake footage in case there's anybody out there that don't know, that's new to the channel, that don't know how to do rear disc brakes on a 2010 Chevy Tahoe. So there you go. But as usual, guys, I really appreciate everybody for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll catch you guys on the next video. All right. Bye-bye.